YouTube, what's the deal? It's your girl Jahira, and tonight I am joined by my daughter, the lovely, the effervescent
Athena!
Hey y'all. We had to come in on somewhat of a serious note, and I wanted to bring my daughter in here because the nature of this YQA required a second opinion, and one that I kind of immediately had to get out there. This YQA was sent to me by one of my subtastics, whom we are going to call Tanya. And Tanya wrote to me, "Hey Tanya," and
Hey T.
I'm gonna be going off camera for a minute. So if we look nuts, then we're just gonna look nuts so that I can read you this letter. Now I am going to kind of give you an abridged version of it because there are some identifying details and things like that that just really aren't pertinent to the nature of this YQA, but we're gonna get to it. So give us 1 second. All right. Tanya writes, amongst other things, I'm 21 years old. I am currently living as a male. However, I've always felt like a female. My mom many years ago took me to get help because I used to want to play with girl things and wear girl clothes. And when my sister and I played house, I would always be the mother. Anyway, I'm 21 years old now and I still feel very unhappy with myself. My self-esteem is extremely low, and sometimes when I look in the mirror, I ask God, why am I made like this? I haven't had a very good, why am I made like this? Why was I born? And do you hate me or something to have made me like this? I haven't had a very good childhood and I don't get along with my stepfather. I came out as transgender to my mother, and I was hoping for some kind of guidance or help, but instead I was turned away and disowned. I'm currently homeless, but working full-time at a restaurant. Sometimes I stay on a friend's couch, other nights I'm at a shelter or I'm at the library because it's open 24/7. Lately I've been feeling very depressed and I feel all alone, and I'm just not happy with my life at all. Being homeless for coming out as transgendered has been the worst. I'm just not sure what I should do. Basically, all in all, I'm not happy with my life as a boy, and I just long to be the girl I am inside. What should I do? Do you have any advice? And then she writes, as a PS, your videos help me get through some rough nights here at the library, especially being homeless. And this is from Tanya. So, obviously, this letter resounded with me personally and struck a chord with me. But I felt that in a situation like this, where somebody is going through what so many young LGBT people go through, in this situation, I felt that two heads were better than one, which is why I brought Athena in here to help me address this and to offer some advice. So, I guess I want to start with you. What? Yeah. Well, what's your first reaction seeing this video?
I I cry because I understand what she's going through and I understand where she's coming from. And I'm not going to call you a he just because you live your life as a male. You are a female and that's what you want to classify as, and that's what you are in my eyes. I understand what you're going through so much. On my aspect, because of my family being very religious, I was in the same boat somewhat. But I happened to be given a better hand when I first came out to my family, and it was my mom. And it has been wonderful ever since. At first, my family did not accept me. At first, my family was get away from me. At first, my family didn't want to talk to me. And the only person that was there as far as my immediate family, besides my cousins, was my oldest brother. Which I would have thought he would have been the more unaccepting one, the more the one to push away and not understand because I'm his middle brother, and it was a lot. With my family being religious, they didn't want nothing to do with me. With my family looking at me like, you're the preacher of the family, you're the singer of the family, you're the teacher of the family, you're the helper of the family. Like, I would be the one, if something was to go wrong, everybody would turn to me. So how is it possible that this is what you want to do? You know, and I didn't talk to my grandmother for a whole year because I had to prove to her that I'm going to be who I am and who I want to be, and I don't have to rely on you all to be who it is that I want to be. There were times that me and my grandmother got into very nasty arguments. There were times where I had to leave and or she told me to go. But her words would never get out, but her words were, you have to go. It's the same, but it sounds better than get out of my house. So unfortunately, like some people don't find an outlet. Some people don't find shelters. Some people don't find people who are going to care for you and be there for you. I have said it time and time again, and I've said it to Jahira, and she knows, we're not just mother and daughter, but we are soulmates. Mm-hmm. She gets a kick out of it because I always say it, but we are Zena and Gabrielle. But that is what she is to me. She's Zena. Okay, I'm the butch. But I understand what you're going through, and I'm here as a witness to let you know that it gets better. And
yes, it does.
I tell you because there are times that even when it gets better, you'll still think about the bad, because it happens to me all the time. There are times I could be laying down and it just pops in my head and I'll just get depressed. But I'll push it away because, again, I know that it's getting better. It gets better over time. It doesn't get better overnight. But it gets better, honestly. And I'm happy that you're actually working, and I'm happy that, you know, in the midst of it all, you're still keeping yourself well-rounded and rooted in what it is that you believe in. I, too, when I played house, always had to be the mother and or the wife. That was just me. When I could fit my grandmother's shoes, I would take the bed sheets and wrap them around myself like a dress. But that was me. And no one would understand that unless you actually did that yourself growing up. And I'm quite sure my mother can relate to it herself. Now, unfortunately, I've gotten a little better at the drag where I'm actually wearing dresses and not sheets. And instead of wearing scarves as hair, I'm actually wearing hair now. But it gets better. And as long as you have a support team, as long as you have a family, you will be all right. And that's what I'm here to tell you, is that if you don't have a support, if you don't have a family, we're here.
And we are. We truly are. It's interesting to me, and I want everybody to know, because, you know, this may seem like a transgendered related topic, but the reality is we lose so many of our children, be they LGBT or heterosexual, to the streets for one reason or another every single year. And it's the lack of understanding, it's the lack of compassion and affection and a willingness to accept that your children have their own roads to walk. That we might want everything in the world for our children, and that's a very natural instinct, but the reality is our children have their own paths that they must choose, and we're simply the vessels through which they come through. And the reality of the situation is, I can relate to this on a very deep level and a very real level. I too have been homeless. I too have been disowned. I've made those points clear. And while I said in my backstory video that I really wasn't going to be turning this into a trans-related channel, and I'm not, the reality is this happens. It's happening in 2011. It happened in 1997 when it happened to me. And to bring it back to your specific situation, Tanya, again, as my daughter summed up so beautifully, it does get better. Making the decision to transition is quite possibly the most difficult thing you will ever face in your life. You are giving up male privilege. You are giving up comfortability and familiarity. You are giving up simply what a misogynistic society places on a man's shoulders in favor of what sexist people would consider the weaker or more subservient sex. Now, we know that that's not true, but there are people in this world that don't. What I would say to you, as I would say to anybody else, search your heart. Search your heart, search it deep. And if you find a woman there, so be it. So be it. Because it's not always going to be easy, but it will be worth it. Living your truth is always worth it. I would rather die being who I am than live being someone I'm not. And that's just my take on it. Again, some of this, Tanya, as you know, is going to be conducted personally and between the two of us, or even between the three of us. But I would like my subtastics to weigh in on this issue as far as what you think Tanya should do, or what you would do if this was your child in this position, or just any advice, any testimonials, any words of encouragement that you can offer would be greatly appreciated. I know that Tanya would appreciate it, and so would I. So,
I truly say to people all the time that people fear what they don't understand. And some people think it's a choice and a decision to be what and or who we are, and it's not. It's not you wake up one morning, I think I want to be a girl.
No one would have chose this.
Not at all. Who would choose to put themselves through the misery and the heartache and the pain that comes with wanting to be transgendered or wanting to be gay? Or, you know what I'm saying? And people, get away from me because, you're gay. Or get away from me because you're trying to become a woman. You're nasty. But all of a sudden, now something's wrong with it. But what about people who are drunks, who are alcoholics? They don't choose to be alcoholics. They just can't get enough of the drink. People who are sexaholics, they just can't get enough sex. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not making excuses for anyone. It's just some things where no one chooses to do these things. They're born this way. People may beg to differ. People may disagree. That's your problem. That's your prerogative. That's your opinion. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to those who believe that this is what they are, in and out, wholeheartedly. Point blank period. You know what I'm saying? Tanya, I understand what you're going through, and I understand where you're coming from. And to my mother's subtastic subscribers, please weigh in. If there's ever a time that someone needs your help, needs your comments, needs your support, needs your advice, now is the time. In this situation, now. Tanya needs our help. As a community, as friends, as family, she needs us.
So with that being said, I do want to make the point that we're not comparing the trans experience to alcoholism or sex addiction, but the reality is, again, as I said, nobody with two brain cells to rub together would have chose this. It is an incredibly difficult walk. There can be a lot of misery along the way. There can be a lot of depression along the way, and despondence and being disheartened. But at the end of that journey, on the other side of that mountain, is finally living the life you were born to live, is finally walking in your truth. And again, walking in your truth is infinitely better than walking in someone else's lie. So with that being said, subtastics, we need your help. We require your assistance. And Athena, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Do the baby. Who is the baby?
I think I'm actually the oldest daughter.
Okay, that's not the damn point.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You too. We will see you again real soon.
See you later.
And until next time, one love.
Peace and happiness.
Yes, Lord. Thank you.
Love and happiness.